Hello and welcome to our today's webinar. The title of today's webinar is Easy Redmine Help Desk 2019. My name is Hanna Ogunusi. I work in Easy Software as a Business Development Manager, and I will be your host for today's webinar. So as I said, today we'll be talking about Help Desk. We will have a look at the basics, such as how to connect a mailbox to your help desk, how to work with help desk project, how to work with the tickets, and I will also show you the help desk dashboard. So to start with the webinar, I will switch to my 30 days free trial that I have set up, and we will take it from here. I would like to also let you know that should you have any questions during our webinar, feel free to use the Q&A feature that is in the toolbar of this webinar. I will either answer your questions as we go or get to them at the end of today's webinar. So first of all, before we can start like building our help desk projects, there is one thing to consider. I will just go to help desk. To access your help desk, you can go to menu more, and then when you scroll down, you will find help desk here. And this will take us to our help desk dashboard. So as you can see, so first of all, actually, let me just quickly show you around the dashboard. So as you can see, we now have a help desk with an interactive dashboard, which shows you some data and analysis of the data that you have within your help desk. First of all, you have here, of course, your help desk dashboard. It can have several tabs, so you can add more tabs over here. And by default, we have here one that is called operation and one that is called statistics. Basically, both of the tabs, they offer us some kind of filters above the tabs, above the data. We can be choosing the period, the user, which can be our help desk operator, and the project. And then we can see some trends here, such as how many help desk tickets in total, how many tickets are not assigned, how many tickets have violated the service level agreement, how many tickets have been closed, and we can also be comparing it because those are trends. So they are showing us the comparison to the previous period. Then we have some graphs and charts over here. And the advantage of this dashboard is like anytime you click on onto a graph or a chart, it brings you to like more details about it, so you can see where does that number come from. So this is of course highly customizable. As any dashboard within Easy Redmine, you can always scroll down and customize this page. And on the operations tab, as you can see, we can see how many tickets are unassigned, how many tickets are opened, similar to the statistics one. So as I said, before you start creating your help desk projects, there's one thing you should consider, and that's the structure of help desk project. Because there are many ways you can go around it. So depending on whether you want to have a single project for all tickets, or you want to differentiate help desk mailboxes, or even have special project for different clients, such as in case if you have clients who pay for premium support, you need to decide about the structure of the projects before you start the configuration, connecting it with Mailbox, etc. It's very important to give it a thought before you start, because then once you start like working with the settings and everything, if you would have to go and redo it later, it can be a bit complicated. So what are your options? Well, the easiest options is of course to have a single project for all tickets, which means you have one project on your help desk, you have one mailbox connected to this project, so all the emails that come to this mailbox, they create tickets under this particular one project that you have done. It's as easy as that. Or you can have one mailbox and more help desk projects. So all emails received go into a general project, into that one, into a project help desk, but you can have like one or two special clients, like I said, those that have the premium support, and based on the domain, based on their email domain, on the incoming emails, they can be those their emails, their tickets can be processed and put into a different project. Then you can have more mailboxes, which means that then actually the tickets are sorted based on the mailboxes, not based on domains or anything else. And you can still have like more mailboxes with different projects, and you can always add the premium support for your clients. So that's something that you have to think about. As you know, to create a project, to create a help desk project, if you were to create it from scratch, you will simply create a project and then add it to your help desk. That's something that we'll have a look at later. But right now, what I want to start with is how to connect your mailbox to EasyRedMine. So now we will get to the actual setup of the help desk components. And in order for EasyRedMine to process the emails from the mailboxes, you need to connect the mailbox to your EasyRedMine. And to do that, there's two ways actually to do it. So we can either access it, as I said, through menu more help desk, which brings us over here, and then all mailboxes. And then over here we have add a mailbox. Or another way is we can go to our administration, scroll down to help desk. It'll basically bring us to the same place, and all mailboxes, and add a mailbox. So as you can see, we already have a couple of mailboxes here, and I will show you how to add a new one. So to add a new one, you have to enter valid credentials, which is the host, which can be like imap.mycompany.com. Then the port, example can be 143 or 993. User can be for the email, so it can be support@mycompany.com. Then, of course, the password. And when you enter the credentials, you have to test if it has been connected. As you can see, there's also some checkboxes in the settings, and those I will explain right now. So as you can see, the active one, it simply means that you can actually create a mailbox, but it doesn't have to be active. So if the active has to be checked in order for the mailbox to be scanned on a regular basis and for tickets to be created on it. If it's disabled, so unchecked, EasyRedMine does not check the mailbox, but you can keep the mailbox there just in case you would need to reuse it in the future. Then we have another checkbox over here, which is called use a different sender. So when a user on the mail server is not the same as a mailbox. For example, a help desk mail user. So you have to enter the valid mailbox, which is represented by the user here. Then SSL, use the SSL certificate. So if you want to use an SSL certificate. And then we have the folders here. So if you want EasyRedMine to only check a certain folder for the unread emails under that mailbox, you will add the name of the folder over here, as in the example. And in success move to, so if an email is processed correctly by EasyRedMine, which means that the ticket has been created, so an email comes in, EasyRedMine check it, and based on that, a ticket is created in your EasyRedMine, then it'll be moved to this folder, or if a failure moved to, so that means that email is not processed correctly, so a ticket has not been created, it can be moved to another folder. So once you test and the test goes well, then you will simply just edit. So as I said, in the 30 days free trial, we have already 2 mailboxes set up here. So in the next step, what we need to do is to configure frequency of mailbox scanning. And to do that, we would come here to the help desk mailboxes. And when we click on the settings, we choose the settings. And you can see that by default, it's set to every 5 minutes. But in general, we recommend to actually have the settings to about 10 minutes. And the reason being that if you have many mailboxes connected to Easy8, and they would be scanning it every 5 minutes, the scanning may take a bit longer, and then it can overload the server, so which can slow down the whole application. So it really depends on how many mailboxes you have connected. So if you have 1 or 2, you can leave it on 5 minutes. If you have more than that, we would suggest to change it to at least 10 minutes. So let's go back to the preview of our mailboxes. And when I was clicking on the settings here, we actually have some more options. So execute means that you can start manually the mailbox scanning. So for instance, if it's every 10 minutes and then at some point you feel like there is something or someone told you, oh, I have just sent a ticket through, you can manually switch on the or run the scanning. The setting, that's what we have just seen. That's where you set up the frequency. Then in history, so you can view the past mailbox scannings, and then deactivate, well, that is simple, deactivate the mailbox. So once you deactivate it, it won't be showing as active over here. So let's move to the next step, which is project configuration. So once Mailbox is connected and scanned by Easy8, we haven't actually set up where the tickets or the emails that come through this particular mailbox, where would they create the tickets into which projects. So basically at this point, the tickets still cannot be created because every task requires a project. So let's start with default project for a mailbox. So when we are on our help desk, let's go back to the dashboard. But basically, as you can see, the sidebar really stays open all the time wherever we are in the dashboard or all the mailboxes. So you can access it from anywhere. And we will click on all help desk projects. And then we can add a project. As you can see, we already had like 2 projects there and by default, and we can add a project over here. So then we would select the project that we want to add. And then we would select the mailbox for which the project will be default. So depending on whether you have 1 project and 1 mailbox, where then it's pretty easy to set up, or for each mailbox, you have to have at least 1 project. And each mailbox can be connected only with 1 project. So once you actually use the mailbox once in here, default of for mailbox, then it won't be showing you the option in when you are adding another help desk project. So, and then we save this. Let me show you what it looks like where we have it saved already. So over here, for instance, excuse me, let's go back. So we have the project filled in, we have the default mailbox filled in, and then there is few more attributes that need to be filled in. In case you were having a special client project, as I said, when it means that the client has paid for premium support, like meaning that their tickets will be processed as priority before any other tickets, and you want to have those visible somewhere else. We would not we would be focusing more on over here, the mailed domains and keyword processed into this project. Because over there we do the settings for what kind of domains it should process into that particular special project. So it's not based on the mailbox it comes into, it's based on the sender's email. Let's have a look in the project configuration in detail, and we can do that through the edit, which I've shown you. So once you have all your projects added to your help desk, you can always edit them over here. Another place you can do it is also when you have the when you open the project itself, then it'll be under the settings of the project. So in the basic settings that we can see over here, as I said, there are several attributes. So tracker means, tracker is kind of like a type of a task. So new task in this project, in the project help desk, will be created under this tracker, which can be a help desk ticket. Usually it'll be a help desk ticket or a support ticket or anything. Assignee is a new ticket in this project will be assigned to this user. As you can see, you can choose from individuals or groups, or you can leave it blank. You don't have to fill it in. And in that case, you can just have it appear on your dashboard, and in the morning, the manager can come in and assign it, or the workers themselves, they can assign it to themselves. Then we can also have co-workers. So if we have an assigning, we can have a co-worker on the ticket. We can have multiple co-workers, both users or groups. Then we have this section for automatically update tickets. So depending on your workflow that you have set up, there may exist some tickets which are factually resolved but being kept open. Which means in the example that we have over here, if there's a ticket that is in the status on client and there's no update for 5 days, which means that we have not heard from the client in 5 days, it'll automatically change the status to done. And if the client comes back after 6 days, it'll simply reopen the ticket. Then let's go back up to the right column where we have the contractual hours monthly. This should be filled only for the special client projects. So for the premium support that I've been mentioning here, where the clients have prepaid a certain number of hours for support. And then this number of hours will be cutting down based on how much time we have spent on their tickets. So then we'll be also we will see here the remaining hours, how many hours do they have left. So if they run over, we can let them know that they need to pay extra. The pencil button allows us to manually clear remaining hours and set it back set it to 0. Aggregated start date is when the prepaid period begins, and aggregated period is for what time are the hours aggregated before reset. Then we have the SLA, service level agreement, and that basically means what's the contracted time for sorting out the tickets. So service level agreement, it means that in what time you have to react to the tickets submitted by a client. And it's actually usually calculated in hours. And there's quite a lot of settings into SLA. So to be honest, we could probably spend like half an hour just on SLA itself. So I will later show you where to find all the details for the SLA. So if we don't go into the SLA tickets, then the details, sorry. Then we can continue about help desk settings. So if we go a bit more down, the mail settings for the header and footer over here. These are the settings that concern the help desk email communication. So communication in email generated tickets. You can customize the emails for different help desk projects. So because you can also within your Easy Redmine, you can manage multiple products. So you can be dealing with different brands for your products. So for each project, you can change the corporate identity, the branding. So you can have like a general one, and then you can change header for this project and change the footer if you need to change the branding. Under that, we also have alert settings. So, and the alerts are there simply to prevent the SLA from being violated. So you can use these automated alerts which notify the concerned people about the problems in form of delayed tickets. So that like within 2 days we have not really replied to the ticket or sorted out. This one thing you can use alert for. Another thing you can use it for is alerts. It can also watch the spend time of the projects, so where the client have prepared a specific amount of hours, and it can let you know when it's being it's about to run out. So that would be about the settings of the help desk project. So we have seen how to connect the mailbox. We have seen how to add a project into your help desk, how to connect the project with the particular mailbox. And now it's time, after the settings, it's time to look at some practicalities on how we work with the tickets, how they are being processed. So for correct handling of tickets created by email, you need to make sure that on the ticket itself, because ticket is actually a task. As I said, it's a task with the tracker ticket. You need to make sure that those tickets, that those tasks have the fields email to and emails CC, as in the copy, active. And to do this, so we are still going into a bit more of settings. We would go to our menu, more administration, and right here under task and trackers, we have our help desk ticket. So it really depends on what kind of tracker, was the name of the tracker that you use for your help desk projects. And when we scroll down to standard fields, we have to make sure that the email to and CC are ticked already, that they will be showing on the ticket. And if they are not showing, simply contact your administrator, the person who has actual access to the administration, if you have Easy Redmine, for them to activate it for you. So right now, let's go back. Let's go to the practicalities. Let's have a look at some help desk tickets and how to work with them. So to access help desk tickets, the easiest way is simply to go to our help desk dashboard. And over here, as I said, one of the ways you can work with tickets, you can have ones that are not actually assigned to anyone yet. So we can take one of these tickets and work with it. So first of all, it's very important when your team is working with tickets, just make sure that before they start working with it, to avoid any mess, that they assign it to themselves so everyone else can see that someone is already working on it. Then over here we can see the email too, which is the sender of the email form which the ticket was created, meaning that when we are replying to this ticket, sorting it out, we will be sending email to this person. Then, as you can see down here, the description of the task. Here is the ticket itself. So this is the email that we have received, what it says. This is the email itself here, as we can see it over here as well. And then we can see here the history. So now to update the ticket, we would click on update. And there's basically two things that we can do with the ticket. We can either be updating the ticket and straight up replying to the client, or we can be updating the ticket and communicating with someone within our company internally. So let's do the first thing. Let's do the option when we are just trying to consult one of our colleagues on the issue before we send out something to the client first. So if we were to do that, we would change the assignee to our colleague, whoever we want to speak to. We can change the status as well, or we can just leave it. It really depends on the workflow, what workflow you want. At the same time, we can lock our spend time. So meaning if you have spent some time on already resolving the ticket, so you were having to look into what was the issue here. Okay, so we had to like, we were having a look at what was the issue with the courier, what really happened. So we can log the time, and then we would write a message for the colleague. Now, the important piece is when you are writing to your updating a ticket and you want only your colleague, so you want it to be only an internal thing that will never ever appear in the communication with the client, so they won't be able to see what we are telling our colleague. We have to tick the private comment. And then we would simply just save it. So now it's on Connie Consultant. We can see that there was an update from us, and you can see it's private. So this is something that will never appear. It won't be copied into the emails that we'll be sending out to the clients. Now, if we want to send an email out to a client, let's say it's back on us, the status, change it on a client, because we have the workflow set up that if the client does not come back, so we'll send them an email. If they don't come back within 5 days, the ticket will be closed automatically. The email will go to this person. We can put a CC if there is someone else we want this email to go to. Again, we can lock our time. Okay, I'm sorry about this. I think we were disconnected for a second. So we would just write the email over here. And now when we are sending it out to a client, we would tick this tick box over here, send email to a customer with a preview. So when we click on save, we'll be taken to the preview of the email. What would the email look like? We can have some mail templates set up. Again, here we can set up the email, the mail copy. If we want someone to be in the copy of the email, we can add attachments and then we can send email. Or we have an option also not to send an email out. So as you can see, we have here the option of the mail templates. The mail templates is something that we can set up on the HelpDesk dashboard. So let's go back there. So we would go to HelpDesk dashboard, and over here we have all email templates. So what does the email template do? It brings a level of automation in the communication with client. And to create a new email template, you would click on add a mail template, or we have an existing one over here. So it would only work for the task status on client. And then we have, we have some settings as an useful mailbox. So you would use it for one particular mailbox over here. Then task status, according to the status, the template will be pre-filled. So it really depends. So you have to make sure that you change the task status before you're going onto the template page. Then the subject, what will the subject contain? And over here, in both in the subject and in the body of the email, we are working with the tokens. These dynamic tokens can be used to provide particular ticket information to the client. So basically, you would just be using them as copy over this piece and paste it over here. So this way you can be, it can look something like, let's delete this. So we can start hello, and then we want to use user first name, we would like to let you know about the updates on ticket number. And then again, you can use like a task ID. With the ticket subject, task subject. So you can have like these pre-filled, and then in the blank spaces that are left, you can write your particular, you can write the specific information that you want to write. But as you can see, you can speed up the process of dealing with the tickets by using the dynamic tokens, both in the subject of the email as well as in the email body. Then also, you can use the token, which is user signature. User. So user signature is a signature of the person who is replying. And this is something that has to be set up on your on the particular user's profile within Easy8. And to do that, we would go to, you can do it in your own profile. So you would go to your own profile, you would click on edit. And when you scroll down here, you have a mail signature. So you would fill in your email signature over here in order to use the dynamic token on your help desk. So what have we talked about today? So we spoke about I showed you the help desk dashboard. We spoke about how to add Mailbox, how to add an project to your help desk, how to connect the project with the particular Mailbox. We saw some help desk settings, and we also saw how to work with the help desk ticket in general. So I think that would be the basics that we really needed to cover, just to give you a good idea on how you can work with your help desk in your Easy Redmine. I would like to also let you know that actually a help desk is something that is like an extra plugin that you buy. So depending on the size of your team, when you are purchasing the subscription to add a help desk, you would scroll down and you can see here the help desk bundle. So there are also individual plugins such as HelpDesk and alerts. So the alerts, I mentioned them, they can help you whether you are running, whether the SLA is being violated. It can help you to alert you about that, or it can alert you when your premium support client is running out of the hours that they have paid for. So you can use the alerts for that. And when you are buying it as a bundle, you get a 28% discount. And I also promised to show you where you can find more information on the SLA settings. And to do that, the best way to go is to go out to services on our website. Actually, we can scroll down and go to our knowledge base. And under knowledge base, we will look up help desk. And when you go here, you will see that pretty much today we have covered the basics that are here in the technical documentation. And when we scroll a bit more down, we will find the help desk settings over here as well, the SLA settings. So the service level agreement, and you can see all the details for those settings over here. So you can follow it step by step. So if you are starting with your help desk now, I definitely recommend you have a look into the technical documentation. If you need help with setting it up, we also offer our implementation services where our consulting team can help you to get your help desk up and running in no time and set it up just to make it ready for you to use it straight away. I don't see any questions so far. If you have any questions later, always feel free to get in touch with our support team. You can do that through the website and the chat window in the right bottom corner, or you can always get in touch with our support team in the application as well. Or you can just simply give us a ring or send us an email, because even the emails that you send to us, they will be processed as help desk tickets by us. So there's no questions. So as I said, feel free to get in touch later if you have any questions. The recording of this webinar will be available online on our website under services and webinars. So you'll find the recording here. We actually already have a recording of a similar webinar that was on the 23rd of October, which was also on HelpDesk. So you can look at those recordings. And thank you so much for your attention. There will be actually no more webinars, a part of the Easy Redmine onboarding sessions, so no more specific webinars for specific features this year anymore. So I hope you to see you at the webinars that we will be running next year. So thank you so much for your attention, and I wish you good luck with your projects.